And we are live. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Holy Crap, the vlogcast. Vlogcast that comes from a skeptical point of view to answer some of the questions of why. The vlogcast started as a combination of spite and the Streisand effect because oobla day, oobla da. Life goes on. That's as far as I'm going to go because Apple Music is probably just going to go ahead and screw me over. That's a tech item for some of you people that have been keeping track of what's going on in the tech industry. You're welcome, Apple people.
Getting ready to kill off iTunes?
Yes, they are. But that's a whole other thing for later.
Hell, there's a class action lawsuit against Cupertino for iTunes selling, having, Apple goes, your privacy is very important to us. That's why you should buy Apple products. And they've been selling user data, iTunes data. First off, anybody surprised?
No.
Not me. Whole lot of Apple users, apparently.
Populous is to follow through with the old adage that, we'll talk about whatever the hell we feel like because sometimes it's needed. And, of course, sometimes the journey is more important than the destination. In which case, for iTunes, it's dead end. Soon, but not now. Look at the bright side. iTunes, you did better than a real player.
I see that train a-coming, heading for that brick wall.
There's still part of me that does miss real player.
Sorry, what? Yeah, I don't. Two words for you, Tech. Real one.
Oh,
okay, this one, no. I'm talking the old school one.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Thank you.
That's why I love whipping the llama's ass. Some people get that one. You're welcome.
I still run that program.
Well,
sometimes.
The current version of it is very well done.
Yes. I am your main host. I'm known as Shujin Tribble all over the place. You can find me pretty much everywhere under that name, Shujin. Let me go ahead and introduce you to everybody because you've already heard their voices. It's your own damn fault at this point. Top left-hand corner of the bingo card, Dalan, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
And congratulations on getting all of your the wall knocked out behind you. That's actually pretty impressive.
Yeah, room with a view, man. What can I say?
Yeah, from 12,000 feet. That's actually rather impressive.
This picture was taken from the window of a jet while I was flying to Seattle for an on-site job. Thought, and actually one of the pictures in this set, I thought I had a nice picture of Mount St. Helens. Nah, it was Mount Rainier.
Yeah, you can tell the difference. One of them is angry. One of them isn't.
Yeah, but the fact that there's cloud. What the hell is that? Cloud. It's like, God damn, you guys make them big out here. And you're talking to a guy who's like, I'm at the foot of the Rockies over here, man.
Speaking of making them big, you've got nothing to do with it, so I figured, I don't know. Bridget, good evening.
Greetings from the land of cornhole and funerals for fetuses.
Yeah.
Cornholing fetuses? What?
Yeah. We'll get to
as somebody
that.
from the north, okay. Here's something that people don't seem to get. Like Sujin, I'm from the north. I grew up in the north. My cultural background is northern. All that fun stuff.
So from the north, this unrenowned tech guy. Good morning.
Hi.
North.
We had at work somebody talking about a cornhole party, and down in the south, cornhole is a game where you have a wooden board that's slanted, a couple holes in it, points are assigned, and little bean bags that you throw from a distance into those holes. Okay, I grew up in north. That's called the beanbag toss. Real simple.
Yeah,
it's completely understand what it is.
Yeah, it's basically a modified version of skee ball.
Right. Now, when me and another northerner at my job got invited to a cornhole party, we both stopped, as in like hitting a brick wall. Stopped.
Dear Penthouse, I never thought this would happen to me.
Now, the cornhole is not the let's just say it usually involves intercourse with the exit only. That's a euphemism for anal sex.
We
got that.
Yeah, we got
You
that.
know, as soon as
So
I said your penthouse, I think the rest of the audience got it. I
some,
could be wrong.
Some of the penthouse, some of the audience may not use penthouse.
That's right. I forgot. I'm
It
old.
should probably be more accurate. Dear you porn.
You know what? We'll save the rest of that for another night when we have Callie right on, because that'll be much more entertaining.
So yeah, for those of you who don't know what cornhole is,
No,
just
it's
the
not the show. Not the show. The euphemisms are good enough. Not the rest of this at this point.
It's beanbag toss. That's what
Yep.
they call it
Yeah.
here is cornhole. Yeah.
Yeah. Or of course, you can always watch old MTV cartoon series and figure it from there. And if you get that reference, congratulations. You already understand.
No.
If you don't get the reference at this point, you're too young.
You're not old
we
enough.
Can't, and you shouldn't be watching this show.
Yeah,
So
you must be this decrepit and crazy to watch this show.
yeah, well, let's go with that. Sure. If you look at this and you think, hey, my dad had that Nokia, you're too young. Okay.
Or if you look at that and go, that's a really tiny cheese grater. How did you get on YouTube in the first place?
Yeah, that's kind of the way that it is. So hi, good evening, everyone. Yes, I'm back. Shujin's back again. Yeah. So yes, I am back. I will go ahead and I will say I'll get to that. I will go ahead and say that yes, I did watch the show from last week. I missed maybe about the 20 minutes out of the end of it all, but I did watch the show, which if you were reading the write-up for this week's show, you kind of see where, yeah, I did see, and I did actually listen to part of it while I was doing my my charity stream last week, which
held down the fort pretty well.
yeah, you guys did a amiable job. Amiable? Sure. Yeah, I'll go with that word. I don't know. And
we ran really late.
Yeah, and
we did all right. We did all right.
Yeah, you did.
And YouTube scared the crap out of us.
Oh, well,
yeah.
Okay. There was a thing about that. What scared the hell out of me is that a journalist had posted a video, a documentary, pretty much unbiased in so much as a journalist can be of any sort, but it had to do with an immigration crisis over in Europe. I can't remember what country it was off the top of my head.
Pick one.
Yeah, but anyways, that video was, let's just say, shenanigans ensued to the point where first, you couldn't get to it. Second, it was listed in the creators. You know, when you click on videos and you see everything, you could see it there. But like anybody who had subscribed to this journalist, who was set up for notifications, they never got anything about it. Getting to it was like pulling teeth. And then eventually, a day later, it was deleted, like completely ghosted off of YouTube.
Archive?
No, like it was gone.
It wasn't even on archive.org.
Well, I don't know about that,
okay.
But the creator finally did re-upload it, and everything's been going fine with it. You want to talk about Streisand effect, though? When that got around, like she got so many views on the first run. After this happened and it came out, because I mean every YouTube, mouthpiece out there was just railing against this, and I say rightly so. When she posted it again, total Streisand effect, it got like 10 times the viewership of the original because of the controversy. But
such happens.
But that happened 2 days before the show, before our show. And I had mentioned another journalist on YouTube that I follow, and I mean, he's center left, but he'll call it anybody. My biggest fear was that, YouTube said, "Oh, you talked about him. He bad. I ban you." And I was like, "Oh Christ, I killed the channel." But then I check a half hour later, and I get the message that it's a 2.5 hour stream. It's going to take a little while to upload, but it sounds like everything's there. It's all good, so I am relieved.
Yep, no worries, all good. And joining us fashionably late this morning over in Paris, France. Good morning, Joseph. Glad you could make it.
Good morning. How's everybody today?
Yeah, well, I'm actually going to cover part of that, but the rest of the guys, I think, are all pretty well okay. Everybody's okay over there? Because I didn't ask.
Mentally or physically?
I don't care.
And that was
Physically,
a great
I'm fine.
excuse for a sound check, too. I can hear you all.
Yeah, exactly. Except for Bridget, because she's just being a little wallflower, not saying jack shit over there.
Come ça.
See, there you go. So the audio check works for you then?
Yeah. Everything's
Cool.
great.
Audio check is in the mail. All right.
Oui, ça va.
Audio check is in the mail.
Yeah, it's an old thing you used to use
It's a
on
joke.
ham radio. Anyway, that's a whole other thing. So, of course, everybody, thank you very much for being with us. Of course, as always, hope that you guys are doing well for yourselves. If you are watching and paying attention live, of course, live chat is open and available for you. Stephanie, hi, hon. It's good. And yeah, Stephanie's even saying, saw fine on Tuesday. So you're all good now. Congratulations.
I'm okay. I've got a little bit of Alzheimer's here because I haven't had a chance to review the audio from last week's show. She said she liked my idea, and I'm trying to figure out which idea it was because I think I had a few.
Wouldn't surprise me. And yeah, you kind of get the idea of what it's like. What it's like, yeah, I should really remember about this. And you see me talking about this stuff, and you see me turn over the talking to somebody, and all of a sudden you look in our chat, and all of a sudden, bloop, there's a thing that I write for myself so I don't forget.
Yeah,
It's easy to forget that stuff, man, isn't it?
Oh, it is, and especially again, I had 4 days worth of 9 to 5, 1 day sick last week, so yeah, my head was in considerably other places.
Yeah, and completely understandable. So
And Dalan, your backdrop is giving me vertigo.
Oh,
I'm not changing it. I'm not.
If I could reach through the screen and keep you from falling backwards.
Hey, Dalan, lean backwards.
I've got
Just screw with them.
Now, you see, what I got to figure out how to do is, okay, so I'm using XSplit VCam, same way Tech is to blur his background. I just wanted to try it with a fake backdrop here. There's no green screen behind me or anything.
Wow.
Yeah, there's
also an option, by the way, to have the chair removed from your back.
Yeah, it takes the headphones with it. So it looks really bad because if I move a certain way, they kind of come back into phase.
Sometimes. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. But anyways,
I know I had to look into the technology they used to do that. Edge detection, OpenCV.
Yeah. But anyways, another show that I like to watch when I have 2 hours to spare and I'm not doing anything else. These guys use is it OSB? No, OBS. And of course, they're using Skype because they actually can. They're actually running, compatible systems and all that shit. But they do kind of like a backdrop of the Enterprise D bridge.
Oh, cool.
Which is fun. I mean, I could do that. I could do that, Tech. You could do that.
Yep.
But
we could have different sections too.
But they also do a foreground. So the two guys that are talking with each other, it looks like they're sitting in the helm and navigation seats with the control panels in front of them.
If that's oh God, I can't believe I'm about to. You do realize, of course, if that was the Enterprise D, that would be con and ops.
Tribble.
I know.
Reach through the camera
I
and
know.
smack you.
I know. The only reason it was coming to my mind is because the epic rap battles where they did Zuckerberg and Musk, and the thing was it was actually Lieutenant Commander for Data, but I wouldn't exactly expect you to understand an org chart. So that one's in my shit. I gotta add that into the what? Fine.
I thought that was somebody's stomach.
I want a dilithium powered phaser, man.
That's actually the way. According to the tech, that's actually how it works.
So
That's
really?
two people who talk about it.
Yeah, oh God, I can't believe I'm about to say this.
What's the topic today, by the way?
Well, I'll get you to that.
Miscellaneous.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, actually, it's courtesy of Dalan from last week because he was righter than he knew, but I'll get to that anyway. And just to show just how much of a dork I am, the power source in a phaser is not a lithium-ion battery. It's not a lead acid. It's celerium chrylide. All right, so leave me alone and don't give me shit because I actually know my tech.
Do we know how to make them?
No, we
Yeah.
don't. Although it
Oh.
does use induction for charging. So all those QI mats that you got for all of your Galaxy devices now, you can use the same damn thing to charge your phaser. So, matter of fact, that's how I charge my communicator. Never mind. There's a whole other thing for that. Let me do my thing. Because God,
we have a show, right?
Yeah, we've got a show too. Let me go ahead and just get that started. So, starting this all. Oh, hold on. I'm sorry. The timer that I've got for my 5-minute freestyle, I need to make a minor modification because I had that set for the 36-hour stream from last weekend, so I could keep track of it myself. There we go, 5 minutes instead
You're
of
about to have a 36-hour 5-minute freestyle.
No, actually, I had it set for about 32 hours and change because that's when I finally said, "Oh, I should really have that up on my screen over there instead of having to look at the timer in Second Life, so I can actually see what the hell I'm doing." Smart me thing, brain. Anyway, 5 minutes on the clock, and you'll see how this all plays together. Your 5-minute freestyle starts right now. Charity, like I said, yeah. Last week was my traditional annual, not anally, 36-hour radio stream marathon based out of Second Life, which is actually technically more like 40 hours when all is said and done. But that doesn't include how long I was awake at that point, you see. So what I end up doing is I had set it up where I would do a marathon of sorts, a charity stream, several years ago, as a matter of fact. I think the first charity that we did in Second Life for the Ride for Roswell, which is the group that I do it for, was in 2007. Yes, as a matter of fact. It was the year that that my wife passed. I got involved with Second Life, and I got going around looking at places because I had no knowledge, and I kept going to Feline Conspiracy consistently because the folks there were the most friendly, and we started a charity because that's something they wanted to do also anyway. And it started as, the Friday night set, a couple of hours. Okay, cool. And it's eventually become this 36-hour monstrosity that I do. Now, I know. There are other streamers who do, 6-hour, 8-hour, 12-hour. In some cases, I've heard as long as 24 hours for various, charities that they've done. I know full well that Markiplier and Jacksepticeye, they've done, long teen-hour charities. But I intentionally wanted to do something that was above and beyond the scope of what pretty much anybody else would do. Because it's positively insane. I grew up with Jerry Lewis doing the telethons for Jerry's kids, and it was 24 hours that he was specifically on, and the charity ran for the majority of the weekend. And I remember when the guys from Sha-Na-Na were there and helping out because here in Buffalo, Sha-Na-Na is the local guys. It is what it is. But for me, like I said, I wanted to do something that people would look at it and go, "Dude, you're crazy. You're nuts. How can you do that? You're up for 40 hours on the air, plus however many hours you were awake before that. That can't be healthy. You can't. Are you like hallucinating and stuff? No, man. I'm good. I'm good. And people don't understand that this is arguably the best possible thing that I could do for a couple of reasons. One is it gives people the opportunity of looking at it and going, you're crazy. That's insane. That's that how you've got to be like absolutely losing your mind at the end of it all. No, not so much. Are you drinking like gallons and gallons of coffee? No, not so much. A couple of showers here and there, sipping at coffee, a lot of tang. Okay. There's an old adage, and I don't remember if it's Japanese, Chinese. It doesn't really much matter. When going out for revenge, first you dig 2 graves. This charity stream that I do is revenge. It is my step towards revenge. I want to eradicate cancer. You could almost say genocide if you wanted to, but I want it gone. I'm probably not going to see it in my lifetime. Might not even see it in my kid's lifetime or even his. But I want it gone. I don't want a family to have to go through what we did. I don't want a family with a 9-year-old girl going to radiation every week with radiation burns on her chest because that's what's keeping this disease at bay. I don't want people to have to go through. And isn't that what a charity should be all about? Trying to say, I don't want it to have to happen to anybody else. Isn't that what empathy is all about? Isn't that what we should be striving for? Bottom line, I don't care if that's what you want to strive for or not, because it's all about what I want. I want to strive for that. Because to paraphrase from my people, as far as cancer is concerned, I want them dead. Episode 263 on the docket, Your Honor. Dalan was right. Like I said earlier, yeah, Dalan was right. Dalan opened up last week with a piece that we had talked about where, and we're not sure if it was apocryphal, if it was just a cute story that somebody told, if it was real. If it was real, oh, that would be delicious to know.
To be fair, yes. I did a little bit of digging, not much because, well, you know, whether it's an anecdote or not, it's something that makes you ponder. It turns out that it actually came from Reddit. So take it however.
Dubious.
Dubious, yes. Is it possible, given what we know, what we've seen, what we've witnessed in our lives and in media? Sadly, I would say the potential of the veracity of this is frightening.
But the point is, like I said, you know, if it was real, Dalan was simply not right enough, because we've come to find out after some investigative digging, yeah, the idea that state-sponsored disinformation, fear, uncertainty, and doubt regarding vaccinations was driving the anti-vax movement from such state sponsors as Russia and China and, you know, groups like that. Now, the fact that it happened is troubling, to put it nicely. But the problem still remains that even though we know it, we know full well, in stark contrast to what we would like, the fear, uncertainty, doubt problem is alive and kicking. Thank you very much.
And oh, okay. So I got a place. I just went looking, just now. I did find a website. It's called Indie 100. And according to NewsGuard, which I'll talk about later, they're a British website affiliated with The Independent that publishes shareable and trending news. So their credibility, not bad, 3 out of 4. Transparency, not so much. But again, transparency is like follow the money type stuff.
Yeah.
But somebody named Arcane Ruby posted on Reddit asking doctors for their stories of encounters with patients over the anti-vax issue. And a fourth-year U.S. medical student with the handle Haliax replied with the tale about a conspiracy theory magnet, and it's pretty much verbatim with what I quoted last week. I saw a few other things when I was doing a search. I'm just looking here. Let's see.
All right. While you're looking for that, let me at least finish off the other information. I did go looking up for information for Reef Badawi for this week. I have no new information currently. So, as of the recording of tonight's show, this is now 6 years, 11 months, 16 days since Raif Badawi was unjustly incarcerated for thought crime. Our thoughts and our hopes are still with you and your family. We are still waiting. And, of course, Dalan, if you get the opportunity to drop me the link to whatever info later, of course. But as far as the group that you were talking about, yeah, like I said, what I had found out as far as to this information that China and Russia were feeding this disinformation campaign, I had seen it come through on my Facebook feeds, and at first for me it was like, nah, come on, really? Somebody's stoking the whole, the whole conspiracy theory thing, and then I saw the little bottom corner that says where the news report comes from, where the headline is to, CBS News.
Yep.
Wait a minute. That's wait, CBS News. Hold on a second. Open a new tab. No, that's the legit CBS News website. Shit, this is legit.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
If you look a little farther, you're going to see that it's not only politics these guys dabble in. Like, we're in the age of manipulation.
Yeah,
for everything, for products, for ads, for polls, for.
Oh, I know. That's where this particular problem came in.
If there's somebody out there who doesn't quote unquote like certain polls or statistics, well, put another one out there to a fake one or whatever, or a skewed one to alter those results.
Yeah, there's several interviews that were done by news organizations.
I'm done.
To people who, why
the silence?
Because he's thinking and it's late.
Okay.
Anyway,
did that make another ploosh?
What?
The more you keep interrupting him, the more you little ploosh. So let the poor tired guy talk.
So they did an interview with several people who admitted to creating falsified news and submitting them as real articles on websites that were not like CBS.com and so on and so forth. And then collaborating with people who were on Facebook and Twitter who admitted to hyping up those same news articles that were falsified to generate traffic to them. And after reading all the interviews that had come out, there was one consistency with all of them. They didn't care. They didn't care that they were making up fake news. They didn't care that they were potentially harming the political system or people in general. They just didn't care. They were having fun, and they were making money in the process. That was it. It was just like, really? You how the hell do you sleep at night? Well, they didn't care.
Yeah, funny enough, you say that, and the first thing that comes to my mind is outbound telephone sales. It's
Ugh.
the same. Oh no, wait. Let me target this one a little bit better. Not just outbound telephone sales, because I can target this one a lot better because of what my wife went through at one point after she was out of college. Amway,
Oh, God.
specifically.
I think I just threw up my mouth a little bit.
Yeah, the multi-level marketing kind of thing. There was a group that my wife worked for a little while, a very little while. It was not Amway by name. I forget what the name of the group was, but it was a high volume, high pressure sales group where you've got a list of phone numbers, and the statistics say you should be able to dial this many phones. You should be able to talk to this many people. Of that percentage, you should be able to get this percentage to come to our showroom. And from that percentage, you should be able to get these many people to buy into the program and buy stuff. And you should be able to get this dollar number in sales and keep this on a weekly basis.
Hello, vector marketing.
So if all you're looking for is the grand dollar, the paycheck at the end of the whole damn thing, and you don't care, well, you don't care. And it sounds to me like it's pretty much the same kind of thing, man.
Basically.
There are so many places out there that it's clickbait. They don't give a damn as long as they get as long as they get the scoop, and even to the point where they are willing to completely falsify stuff with, like, just like what Tech said, without any regard. And I mean, it's brutal out there, to the point these days where we're fact checking, it has to become a thing. And on that, you'll notice in our chat, in our group chat, I posted 4 articles actually corroborating what I saw on CBS. Now,
I'll make sure those are read later.
Yeah. There's another one I want to add, which I will later, but I want to talk about it a little bit. Because of things like fake news and all that stuff, there's a plugin you can get for Chrome called NewsGuard. And basically, a lot of journalist sites or webs or news sites are registered with NewsGuard's database. And what it does is it grades it on things like accuracy. You know what? Let me call it up here.
While you're calling that up,
awesome.
What's that?
I think people should install Make America Kittens Again, which anytime a picture of Trump appears on the webpage, they replace it with a random picture of a kitten.
Oh my God. Do you remember, Tech, you might remember this. I talked about this on the Friday night show. We're talking years ago here, though. There was the Beaver plugin. No, and what it was an anti-Justin Bieber plugin.
Mm-hmm.
So that anytime you were looking at Justin Bieber, I think it would either remove the picture or put in a picture of a beaver. And I think if it saw the name Bieber on the website, it would change it to Beaver or something. It falls along the same line. Okay. So NewsGuard. What it looks for, there's 8 things. Well, what the hell?
No,
Okay,
we're atheists. There's no hell.
Oh no, I like this. Okay, so
Except Alabama.
okay. Anyways, so it sits up. You know what? Let me share my screen. I can. Show
I
you
vote
this.
that we rename Alabama hell.
Michigan, there's a town in Michigan that's going to have a problem with that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
hi, that's me. I see me. Hi.
Okay, give me a second here. Here we go.
That was really weird.
Yeah.
Is that what
Inception.
happens like when I do that crap, guys?
Okay, so this is what happens. This is a Chrome browser, and as you can see up on the top here, we've got this little shield next to the elephant. The elephant has nothing to do with Republicans. It's a program called Evernote that I use. Just give me a break.
I use it too.
Yeah, so this website, foreignpolicy.com, it gives you a quick description of what it is. The website for International Affairs Magazine's Foreign Policy. It gives you a quick thing for credibility and transparency. So like does not repeatedly publish false content, gathers and presents information responsibly, regularly corrects or clarifies errors, kind of fails on the handles the difference between news and opinion responsibly. Quite a few sites are guilty of that because let's face it, 90% of online news is nothing but op-eds anyway. And avoids
Op-ed is opinion piece for those who do not know.
Yeah, basically, these are the ones that are just, you know, that the writer of it is completely biased. It's the editorial section if you look at the classic newspaper.
It's the one where they can say stuff and not get sued for slander or libel.
Yeah.
Libel's print.
Well,
because it's their opinion, not the news.
Yeah.
That's how Fox got out of so many lawsuits for saying stupid shit on the air.
Yeah.
Don't a lot of journals do that, actually?
They do. There are a lot that do, and that's why programs like this are coming out these days. I mean, even Snopes has come under fire recently for having certain kinds of bias, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh, let's be fair. Snopes has been under fire for as long as they've been up because they actually call out the groups when they're wrong. Yeah, and they get pissy about that.
No, you're right. You're right. But I'm just saying, like, again, I go off of stuff that I've read in other places as well.
No, I got you.
But what I like about this I like it. See the full nutrition label. I love this. You click on this, it actually opens up a site, and it gives you everything.
Now the question I have is, who checks the program?
Let me bring up another site.
I believe the expression is, who watches the watchers?
Watchers.
Okay.
Exactly.
But you see this one now, the shield is empty. I click on it. I can actually submit this site for review by NewsGuard.
Okay.
So
who checks on NewsGuard, though, that they're being honest?
Well, and I mean, that's the thing. Like, who watches the watcher?
Yes.
Who watches Snopes? Who watches any of these fact-checking organizations?
Actually, what you need is a mechanism.
You mean like an algorithm?
Yeah.
Yeah. How well has that been working for some places? I'm looking at you, YouTube.
Oh God, yeah. YouTube's been completely evil over the past year.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying.
Have they just kind of a side question? But has Google had some sort of direction change?
Yes, they got rid of the "Don't be evil" in their handbooks.
When?
That was a joke.
Yeah, it's not actually just like with the show tonight, man. You're more right than you realize. Yes, they did actually strike the "Don't be evil" out of their overall mantra.
Yeah.
What?
A while ago. Yes, Google once upon. All right, for those of you that don't remember this one,
find it.
Hold on.
Definitely evil.
Once upon a time, Google actually had a mantra. I don't remember if it was a written or an unwritten rule, but it was quite literally, don't be evil. Literally, exactly that. Now, that mantra, I don't remember when it was, but I believe a couple of years ago, that mantra has fallen out of fashion. I'm not saying they don't follow that anymore, but the actual mantra, don't be evil, is kind of the same way that you wouldn't wear actual real pearls out anymore because it's kind of like not a fashionable thing. It's kind of fallen out of fashion, kind of the same way that things like
fur coats.
Fur coats. Still do. What?
Well, that's because you like to
unless it's
like,
from a sustainable source.
Yeah, it's because you want to look like Sean Connery in that post-apocalyptic thing with the bandanas and the stir and the
Oh,
orange
no.
Speedo thing. You know what I don't know what it is.
Okay, I'm gonna need alcohol before I go to bed tonight.
It's the fur thing. Never mind. But anyway, but the point of it is, yeah, for whatever reason, that's kind of fallen to the sideline fashionably so.
Well,
Which is, like I said, it's fallen out of fashion, kind of the
Fallen
same
out
way
of
that
notice, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, they might still be following it without monitoring it. And I'm not saying I'm
They
not
don't
really
seem
getting
to
into
be.
chorus, but
look, if it was an actual slogan that they were using,
and I'm pretty sure
like,
it was.
okay, so if it was a marketing slogan, speaking as somebody who's had to do websites and stuff for companies, slogans change because they're always trying to, if not reinvent, at least refresh the brand.
It's like when a company changes its name after something that has gone horribly wrong.
Oh, but not even that. Like the company I used to work for, they had a couple of slogans for a while, and then we came up with some new furniture lines, and we became the concentrate and collaborate people. Or was it collaborate? Well, either way. But the idea was to bring everybody to the table so that they could share their ideas. And we actually had a mechanism where you could literally plug in your individual devices and share your data on a big screen. So, refreshing a slogan to help reinvigorate yourself for, a changing market, that's nothing new. So don't be evil. They used it for a while. It got kind of worn out. So let's try something else.
It could be also kind of what tech is. Quite often, a company will change its name when it gets a bad rep.
Yeah, and I'm wondering about Google right now because I just saw an article this morning that the antitrust people are coming.
But that's more reflection, not on the company, but on the people. Because I mean, not only do people not fact check, they seem to have a short memory too.
Yeah, but anyways, getting back to my point,
they wouldn't do it if it didn't work.
Any of these fact checking sites, plugins, anything like that. At the very least, like the reason I went after NewsGuard and stuff like that is when I saw the thing that Shujin posted about the Russian trolls, I thought, okay, CBS, yes, but I want more because this one just sounded a little bit too outrageous to be true.
That's really funny because I'm working on something like that right now. I actually, I'll take any given story and I'm writing an algorithm to extract facts from a story. For example, a person, a thing, in a certain time and a place.
Mm-hmm.
And that is called what I call it a claim. And that is followed to its source.
Yeah.
And so on and so on and so on. So everywhere this claim appears, you're going to have like a cloud of sources.
Yeah.
When it appeared, when it originated, and
dude, you're going to create a spider that crawls through everything that's going to either A, kill itself, or B, it's going to go, you know what? I'm done.
My only challenge is finding a place to store all this shit.
You need to wait until we get into the petabyte data storage systems.
Yeah. Well, actually, the hosting
size
service,
of a credit card.
I was going to say the hosting service I deal with does have unlimited storage for me as a user.
Let's abuse it. Okay.
Yeah,
we're already kind of pushing our luck with them, isn't it?
Kind of like the all-you-can-eat smorgasbord.
Well, actually, truth be told, Joseph, like holycrapthevlogcast.com, that site is actually hosted in New York with Shujin. But the links in the blog entries to the MP3 files of the audio are actually stored on my hosting service, which amazingly enough is actually down in Texas. But they have a partnership with a Canadian company, which is how I was able to get a .ca domain name, because you can't get that unless you're Canadian. So, and if a U.S. hosting company wants to be able to provide that service, they have to work with a vetted company north of the border, to say that there's a partnership. So the company I deal with, they actually have a partnership with another company called Two Cows, which was
God.
Yeah, it's been a long time with them.
Yeah, they're still around.
Yep.
Not surprised.
But you know what? I pay $100 and some odd a year plus $5 a month for 5 subdomains. And I can create unlimited email addresses. I have unlimited bandwidth, unlimited storage. So, if and when I finally get that podcast going and, all the billions and billions of fans start downloading it, I can just go, I don't have to pay for it.
Yeah, there'll be a hell of a lot easier than what ended up happening to me, but that's a whole other piece for a little bit later. Moving now,
Yes.
back into this whole damn thing. Let's go on over to our medical expert for a couple of seconds because I want to have the eye rolling going on the audio for a second.
Oh dear.
Oh yeah. So So Bridget, you know full well that there are a number of areas where communicable diseases are unfortunately on the uptick.
Mhm.
Not the least of which is, of course, the House of Rat, because I was going to say the House of Mouse, but I mean, pestilence and rats and all that heavy shit. Because yeah. And then we've got places like, my hometown of Brooklyn, where the Hasidic community has been, they've got anti-vaccination, and we'll leave male genital mutilation aside for a week for now, but
It had been eradicated in this country.
Yeah.
Had.
Not if you're born to Jewish mother.
No, they had declared it eradicated. Now they're thinking that they are going to have to take that back.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you meant male genital mutilation.
No,
that's a whole other thing. So let's go through this list of items that in our modern age have been effectively stopped. The first one, of course, is smallpox.
Polio.
No, hold on. Let's go with the first one, the first big one, smallpox.
Okay.
That one has been worldwide eradicated, and that was an amazing piece right there.
Yep.
That took what was it? A 5-year concerted effort to get rid of it for immunizations, I think.
I'm not sure. I think they stopped immunizing people back in 74, 73, something like that.
Something like that. I think the last one in the wild was 73, I think.
Something like that.
Something like that.
I was born in 67 and I got the vaccine.
Okay, so smallpox worldwide, done. Okay, now let's go through with the other ones that here in the U.S. or in most of the industrial side of the planet we know full well has been almost non-existent. Polio was a big one because we had FDR, who famously, or I should say, very not famously, when he was in office, he spent most of his time sitting in a wheelchair, which hid the fact that he didn't really stand very well for very long most of the time because of polio.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, what were some of the other ones? Well, the stuff that would put you in an iron lung, for instance. Let's see, what are we thinking of? Measles, perhaps?
No, iron lung would be polio.
Oh, polio. Yeah, see, oh.
But
Okay.
yeah, measles, had been declared eradicated, but now not so much.
It's back.
It's back.
Again.
Yeah. Let's see. What other ones were? Mumps. Yeah, mumps. We can. Was basically just like you didn't hear about it anymore.
What about whooping cough?
Whooping
Yeah.
cough.
Pertussis, yeah.
Rubella was almost a done.
Yeah. Typhoid.
Typhoid, yes.
Yeah.
And
Poor Mary.
yeah, and at this point, chicken pox would be on its way.
Mhm.
And I would say that because until my little one needed to have the question was brought up. Okay, do you want to have the chickenpox virus vaccine? I'm like, wait, there's a
There's a thing.
there's a thing for that? It's like, yeah.
Hey, from what I remember as a kid, if somebody had come up to me and go, "Look, you can either get chickenpox and then get itchy and everything else, and then be out of school for a week, or we can just give you this shot and you'll be done and you won't be able to get it." Before we knew that it would turn into the shingles problem and everything else, I would have, as a kid, opted for the shot.
Mhm.
Yeah, well,
Because laying down and being itchy and everything else.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I been there, done that. Not a fan.
Yeah, been there, done that. I had to do it twice because I don't know. Yeah, whatever.
And then, of course, there's that one politician who said, "Oh no, none of my kids had the chickenpox vaccination. They don't need it. They got the chickenpox, so they won't ever get it again. I made sure they all got the chickenpox." And all I could think is, he just fucked over his family.
Yeah,
and I really would like to have a conversation about that one of these days. Do these people honestly believe half the claptrap that's coming out of their traps?
Yes.
Because honestly, I want to record it and I want to play it back to them and say, this is you. If this was not you, would you call this person an idiot? Yeah, box parties. I remember hearing about those. And it's just like,
disgusting.
Honestly, get the kids out, seal the adults in, quarantine it, and do what you do with some quarantine places. I won't advocate for it vocally, but you know what I'm talking about.
I understand that back then, what we thought we knew was if you get the chickenpox as a kid, you don't get it. You most likely don't get it again as an adult later on in your life, and you don't really want it as an adult because it can be crippling as an adult. But if you get it as a kid, your immune system can bounce back and you put up with a little bit of itching. The worst you've got to worry about is not itching so much so that you don't leave scars. Okay, fine. Oatmeal baths and lotions and all that crap. And, make sure the kids get it early on. So have the chickenpox party. Okay, good. But now that we understand that, no, it's a bad thing because it ends up leading to shingles and a bunch of other crap. Okay, that's a different story. There's no more reason to be having those parties. Now we understand that getting it, period, is a bad thing.
Yeah.
And you mentioned typhoid, Bridge.
Yeah.
And that reminded me of another article that I just saw today that it horrified me and it actually scares me for a very personal reason. Some stuff came out of California recently. I don't know if you guys have been following this. In San Francisco, they have a bit of a poop problem.
Mm.
What, are people pooping in each other's mouths?
He said California, not Germany. Let's be sure that we're talking about the right places.
What's wrong with you guys?
You really, dude, it's a 2-hour show. I don't have nearly enough time for this. I did 36 on the air last week. You should have asked then. You missed your opportunity. You got to wait for a whole other year. Going on.
You weren't here.
Anyways.
So I wouldn't have got it.
So they have a poop problem.
They have a problem with human, public defecation.
I mean, people going out in public and deciding, hey, we can have a restroom, but I'm just going to go here in this flower pot instead.
Is it because of the homeless?
Yes, the homeless, the huge influx of illegal immigrants as of late. There's they actually have to put together a poop patrol to look at this. I'll bring up a site later about this. The thing is, with all of that exposed waste, there is, of course, huge potential for disease. And even right now in Los Angeles, because of the absolutely atrocious sanitation problem that they're having right now, there are reports of typhoid coming back. There are fears that the bubonic frackin' plague, because they got longer, hotter summers now, extended breeding periods for rats, which LA does not have a control program for currently. And we all know what rats did in Europe a couple of centuries ago.
Well, I think we learned a bit because
apparently
Paris
we didn't, Joseph, because in California they're standing on the precipice of it right now.
Paris has, and even before getting to the sanitation problems, the problems, the health problems it causes, Paris installed free public toilets about 10 years ago, and they estimated that they saved something like 60 million on cleanup costs.
Yeah, but see, the biggest problem though is over here in the States, we have a thing where if the biggest problem that we've got on this one is the homelessness issue with people evacuating wherever it is that they are. The homelessness issue is one of those, you don't talk about it, you don't acknowledge it, you sweep it under the overpass, forgive me, and you don't deal with it. And that is the big social stigma.
Why not?
Because let me finish. Because it is the big social stigma of our culture.
Why?
Because again, you asked earlier, are you leaving little plunks? Stop interrupting a second. Because here in the US, if you are homeless, there's two reasons, culturally speaking, that we think that it would be. It's because either you don't want to be responsible and you choose this lifestyle for yourself, or item two, you are simply broken in some way and you were refusing assistance that's otherwise there because you're broken. And either way, I don't want to get involved because it's a squishy topic that makes me feel uncomfortable.
You're either lazy,
not an excuse,
or you're on drugs.
Yeah, that's
Exhibit B, Your Honor.
Yes, sir. Holy balls! The fuck?
That
Minecraft?
No, that is the poop sightings, or the reported instances of human waste in the open in the city of San Francisco.
Mafa.
Now, I'm currently with my job. I am working with a client in San Francisco.
Time to build more toilets.
At some point, I am going to have to go down there for a few days to, help train and ensure that everything's fine. I have a compromised immune system because of the surgery I had, which took Mr. Spleen with me. Granted, I am fully vaxxed. I still need a flu shot for this year, but that's an easy thing to go get.
But even still,
this terrifies me because, well, for one thing, can you imagine the smell? Holy crap. Literally.
But I would.
But the other thing too,
sorry,
is, and apparently, like this blackened area here. Apparently, this is downtown.
Downtown.
This scares the hell out.
It should be called Browntown.
I don't even want to think about that.
I would question. I would look at the per capita amount of cases because it's possible. Is that only the data for San Francisco or for that particular area?
I'm trying to think here. Let me.
Well, according to what you've got at the top there, that's for the
northern part. The northern part of San Francisco.
So something tells me if you were to show Paris with its public toilets and all, it would probably look the same.
But he's not going to Paris.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying, statistically speaking, is it actually worse there than it is elsewhere?
Well,
is this a recurring problem, like everywhere, or is it just particular to there?
Okay, well, actually, Dalan, if you flip back to it for a second, because to be fair, if I saw the listing there, that said that the data was from 2011 to 2019, so there's no way of really knowing how recent.
It needs a slider where you change it over the year and it changes how those reports change.
Let me find it here. Here it is. Let's see.
The per capita data.
That's actually really, really
Per
funny.
annum.
Yeah. By the way, over in the live chat, which by the way, Doc and Roxy, hi guys. Doc Waxton had said, as someone with a fear of needles, the thought of vaccination scared me as a kid, but the thought of catching a debilitating disease was worse, so I gritted my teeth and bared it. Congratulations, because in our youth overall, being afraid of a needle is a really, really scary damn thing because, you know, you're so young. Having a chunk of metal put into you, even though it's from a doctor who is a professional, you don't really think of those things like that because, I mean, come on. It's called an irrational fear, but I don't know that having a piece of metal stuck into your body is necessarily irrational exactly, but be that as it may. He also continued, my tuberculosis vaccine scar is one I carry with pride, and that one stung when I got it. Tuberculosis, that was one we didn't mention. Bridget, the vaccination for that one, that's a pretty big one if I remember correctly, yeah?
I haven't had it.
Okay, big help. All right, thanks
I
so
thought
much.
you only have to get that if you travel outside the U.S.
Mm.
I mean, I've had a TB time before to, you know, to see if I've had it, but
Fair enough.
Oh, here we go. Here's something a little bit better.
How about a tetanus shot?
yeah, I've had that.
You mentioned before about the fact that that data was like almost like an 8 years or
Almost 10 years.
yeah. Here's something that breaks it down a little bit more. You can see this chart here. Let me zoom it up a little bit.
Oh,
So now these are reported incidents.
okay. Now see, the problem with, okay, go ahead and explain the graph, and I'll tell you the first thing that comes to my mind.
Okay, so what they're saying here, this is from 2011 to last year. This is the number of human feces incidents by year in San Francisco. The source is, of course, San Francisco Department of Public Works. Now, my problem here is this openthebooks.com. That's where I found that map from earlier, but I can't get like a 1 year thing. And the reason, like the whole reason I brought this up, well, A was the one thing I found about in LA about the diseases, which then reminded me of the feces problem in San Francisco. But again, I stand by the fact that I'm worried about going down there because, you know, now I'm hoping that wherever I am, it's going to be to the south of me, or to the south of all of that, or just somewhere where it's not going to be so bad.
Can I can I add in just one more question on this graph?
Yeah.
You know, like when you look at things over time, have they been doing the investigation? Have they been actually looking over this entire time? Because things tend to spike a bit when they start looking.
Yeah, that was a piece I was gonna mention. Dalan, if you scroll it back down a little bit, the graph shows that 2011, which is the first year that they've got data for, the number of incidents that were recorded by again the San Francisco Department of Public Works was, I'm rounding a little bit, 5,500 incidents that were reported, and that at that point jumped to a little over 6,000, 8,500. 10,500, 13, 18, 20,500, and finally for last year, 28,000. Now, Joseph's point is valid. That, it is. You know, the first year, the numbers are going to be small because, maybe here and there have been incidents that had been reported, but it wasn't really a big issue.
Not so many poopographers on the field.
And indelicate as it might be, that's actually quite correct. That, you know, these things, as time goes on, you put in a mechanism for being able to track these things, and you put together your Excel spreadsheets because that's what Excel is for, that piece of shit. I'm sorry, what were we talking about?
Yeah, I'm trying to see, like, this is from Forbes, so I'm trying to see if there's anything about how it's recorded or...
But do you see what we're demonstrating? It's so easy to skew data.
Yeah, like, I do fully understand.
Like even by omission, you know, they're not mentioning how long the study has has been going on, what their budget has been has their budget been constant for the study and all this. There's so many, you have to know the whole story for statistics to make sense.
Yeah. And it's a hard thing to be able to do because, I mean, let's face it, when you're dealing with something that is new, it's hard to get a handle on it because it is new. You have new information that comes in. You have new ways of dealing with the data, of collecting the data that evolves over time. So, yeah,
the people writing the article, they normally have access to all this data, right?
One would expect. Yes.
Yeah. So otherwise, they couldn't write the article. So, just add some more footnotes. Be very, very welcome. Because, I mean, we have to be skeptical, because of all the shit out there.
Figuratively and literally.
Yeah.
We have to be super skeptical of everything we see.
No, I agree. And I mean, and I was trying to find, while we were talking there before, I was trying to find something that, okay, let's narrow it down for this year. Let me look at, my city. Let me look at other cities and see what's going on. Like, let me get some more information because, data skewing or, something like this.
Like even going to San Francisco, you might find that the situation there is actually not as bad as other surrounding cities.
Yeah.
But with this super scary graph with covered in purposely brown poop indicators. Yeah. I mean, but
the other thing that gets it though is okay. So as a layperson like myself, who I have to be careful because of my condition nowadays. If this is the first thing I see, okay, so what I did there was very much a knee-jerk reaction. Mea culpa, I'll take that one.
But take this for example, how easy it is to manipulate.
I was just manipulated.
Yeah. Well, it could be legit, it could be not, but it's up to you to be the skeptic. But imagine, for example, you've got San Francisco, they're having, a spice fair, and then there's the Los Angeles is having one as well at the same time, and they're competing. Well, how are you going to keep everybody from all outside visitors from going to one town and, coming to yours? Well, publish a story like this.
Let's see.
I'm not entirely certain I understand what you mean by that.
Wasn't I articulate? Yeah, because imagine if you want, you're planning some sort of event and you want everybody to come to your town and not some other competing
basically
town.
Sabotaging it is what he's talking about.
Yeah, I mean the incentive to do that.
Gotcha.
It's so easy to do.
Gotcha. And Joseph from Stephanie over in the chat, Joseph, street cleaners would notice this whether official or not. I would say yes and no.
Depends on what street they work on.
It depends on the street they work on. Depends on the machinery that they're working with.
And
it depends as to how much. Yeah, and also, I mean, it depends as to where it is. Most people would not defecate just leaning over a curb. Forgive me for being indelicate, but it's the reason why I'm saying that. But be that as it may.
But she's right. Yeah, they would most know about it, and I'm sure they have stories to tell.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, and Bridget, by the way, another one that where was it over here? Stephanie had also mentioned one that we did not specifically touch on: German measles.
Yeah.
Also another one that's who the hell ever hears about that?
Rubiola.
Yep. And there was a line from. I'm sorry, real quick. There was a line from MASH that I was trying to remember earlier. For those of you that are going to remember this one, you're gonna love this one. It was Klinger, who was having a thing about. There was a thing going on in the camp, reminding you this was the 50s because of the Korean War. So this would have been 54-ish, and they were talking about having to deal with mumps. And Klinger went ahead and said, if you get them as kids, you don't get them as an adult. But if you get them as an adult, you don't get kids. Take that, you little home wreckers.
Yep.
Remember, that's what mumps do to you, right?
Yep.
So yeah,
Cosmology for sure.
I'm sorry.
They can cause sterility for sure.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah.
for what it's worth, if some guys were considering getting a snip and clip, I mean, you could just go out and get the bumps, and then you don't have to go ahead and go under anesthesia, and then you're good for the rest of whatever,
Not
right?
necessarily.
Okay, so I mean,
Method.
I mean, look at the bright side. I mean, you could go to the doctors and get the diagnosis and then get a lollipop afterwards to make you feel better. But it's fine, it's fine.
Well, you should always ask for a lollipop. Always.
Dalan,
Hmm?
you know I'm zeroing myself in my own head now. You know that,
Oh, I
right?
know. Yeah, I know.
It's fine.
What? There's something wrong with what I said?
No,
No.
There's absolutely nothing.
Yeah,
There
he's
is
in
nothing
DJ
wrong.
mode right now. He's in DJ mode right now.
I'm half in DJ mode because of last week. That's
Yeah. So again, during the conversation there, and I posted this link in the group chat, I did find a place where you can actually, now the data is a little bit older, but you can break it out by year and even by month to find out the number of calls. Of course, the downtown sector in that northern quadrant, of course, it's going to be bad because, well, it's downtown.
Yeah.
You go to any city's downtown core, you're not exactly okay. You're seeing the wonders of high-rise architecture, but you're not exactly seeing the best in people. Find that, and that's anywhere. I mean, hell, that's here.
Yeah.
And I remember a guy who he took a leak on the police building.
Mhm.
I watched him do it, and they never arrested him. At least there. They may have okay, and that's my tinfoil hat moment for the night. But no, and I'm looking around, I can't find anything that actually narrows down. Give me something for up to last year, and then let's compare it to the same year with other cities.
Yeah,
If I could get that for a comparison, then I think it would be it would shine much more of a light on how serious the problem is.
The overall trend, though, is also, if you actually look at it, things are actually getting better.
Possibly.
Yeah, but again, trying to figure that out with the data is again another one of those how to get rid of all the extra variables and how to make sure that everything is actually correct across the board back and forth. Data is always
you've got to boil it down.
It's like well, it's going back to what I was saying earlier. Imagine they were collecting no poop data before like 1960.
Yeah.
Well, it wouldn't appear on a map, and it would, to anybody from the outside looking at it, it would look like this problem started around the 1960s.
Yeah. Well, and like the other map that I sent there, I believe those were the number of tracked 311 calls, which is a call to the city public works.
Okay.
So like, and that could be for like, you call 311 if, like for us, if I go to a place where there's public recycle bins and if they're like overloaded, I call 311 and say, hey, did you guys miss a pickup? Because this is starting to look like a landfill, and then they go, okay, where are you? I'm here. Okay, click, we've marked it. And then the big trucks come out. If there is a big ass pothole on the road, if there's anything like in Calgary, we have 311. It sounds like they have the same thing in San Francisco. Probably have it in other cities as well. But
yeah, they call it a Department of Public Works for exactly that reason.
And now that now that Joseph's mentioned this whole thing about breaking things down a little bit, I want to look more to this LA thing, which I'll do later. The talk of the fact that because they are having sanitation issues according to news reports. They're having with the homeless problem, and that they apparently tried to bring in some kind of a housing thing, and a bunch of NIMBYists said that's not going to happen. They struck it down. So, and NIMBYist. That's the people who are NIMBY, which stands for not in my backyard.
Mhm.
Now, this all plays out, and I know for there's got to be a bunch of people who are paying attention and listening to the whole damn thing, and are finally just like, all right, yeah, this is all kinds of interesting and kind of weird and oddly weird to pay attention to, but what does this actually got to do with the whole topic from the top of it all? Glad you asked, because here's why I love to say we live in the information age. Who would have ever thought 10, 15, 20 years ago that we would be able to have this level of information, that we would actually be cataloging, forgive me, this scatological level of information? We wouldn't have thought about it before, but now we actually do have this level of information. And the reason why this ties into the topic at large, and that's why I'm going to go ahead and hit on Bridget a little bit more on this, is that we have such incredible amounts of data available, factual data about so much information, including medical stuff, not the least of which is being able to see the difference in the number of infections for things like rubella. And then, oh, look, here's where the vaccines came into play. Oh, look at what happens to the graph at that point and where it level. We have this information that shows it all. And for whatever stupid reason, there are people who are just like, no, I'd rather be shoving porous igneous rock up my vag because it's somebody else said to do it. It's that level of dumb, of completely ignoring reality and facts.
But it's Gwyneth Paltrow, and she's pretty, and Pepper Potts, and
she can get stuffed with a Jada upper twat.
Guys, shut up and let the lady talk.
We're so good at this that if there happens to be an outbreak, we can trace back to the index case, the first one.
Patient 0.
Yeah, which is amazing to me. If I remember right, anthrax. That's what one of the things I was trying to remember. There was an anthrax attack, whatever the hell it was, where they were able to get the genetic fingerprint off of the strain of anthrax to figure out where the hell goddamn thing actually came from. They can do the same thing with, they do it every year with the flu. Yeah. Whichever strain comes out, and figure out where it came from and which specific type it is, right?
Yeah, what's circulating in the southern hemisphere is more than likely going to make it up this way.
Mm-hmm.
See, and this is why we need to stop having people actually traveling from Australia to everywhere else. We need to just put a blockade around it. I mean, we need to just do the whole escape from New York thing and just wall off Cairns, and nobody needs to come out ever again. We can all go there.
Wow.
But
okay,
I mean,
I think this is the first time in the history of the show I actually see Shujin subliminally chanting "Build the wall."
Well,
I'm not wrong.
It's it's just all right. Look at it this way: if you had to put your money down between the snakes in Australia and Snake Plissken, who you putting your money on?
Plissken. That's one tough SOB.
Yeah, but he's old.
Well, yeah, now. But I mean, he'd still grab a knife out of the air and chuck in his. All right, I'm crossing my films now. So
just remember, there was only one snake on that plane. Because he only needed one.
He wasn't. There was
on a glider, whatever.
Okay.
Pliskin.
Okay, sure. We'll do.
New York.
No, that's. Never mind. Okay, so here's the problem that I've got, and like I said, Bridget, we have to talk about this because this is the thing that has been pissing me off. As much as Joseph rails constantly about people who are absolute sheep and don't want to think for themselves. My railing point has been FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, FUD, and the lack of proper early education. Why do these people now, these people who keep saying, well, all these kids are snowflakes now and they're all getting participation trophies that you paid for, you dumb fucks. How is it that these people who are the I want your manager Jennies, how is it that these people think that just because they can do a little bit of searching on Alta Vista that they know more than somebody that's been following this shit for 20, 25 years in research environments? How do these people think that they have more knowledge than these professionals?
I have no idea.
You are no big freaking help here.
And how do you know they're professionals?
Now,
that they're
see-
not just calling themselves professionals.
No, see,
They're looking for sources. They're finding sources that support their point of view.
yeah, and please forgive me. I'm teasing on Bridget. I'm not really trying to give her shit about it, but I mean, as somebody who has had to deal on too damn many occasions of people in social media who've been just like, well, you know, the cure is out there, but they don't want to release the cure for cancer.
Yeah.
You know, Bridget, I know full well, you know, over the years, I know full well that Bridget and I have kind of shared the same thing of looking at these people who are just like, you are nowhere near medically. Your medical training is, you know, which end of a tongue depressor is not supposed to go up against your uvula. I mean, come on.
And I would even say then in some cases that's 50-50 with these people.
Well, yeah. But
yeah, and cannabis is not going to cure cancer.
Which is a whole other thing. But I mean, you've seen the dollar figures of stuff because of, you know, because of insurance. I've said it before, you know, granted, you know, it was the late 80s when I saw it with the family owned pharmacy that I worked at, that, you know, the amount of money for insurance is absolutely hellacious, even at that level. But how is it that lay people think that they know so much more than the people who are actual authority figures when it comes to medicine, where it can be literally life or death?
Reality is a concept.
Dunning-Kruger.
It doesn't matter. It matters. The definition of right and good seems to be, does it match my present worldview? And that's it. There's no more skepticism than that. I don't think even the thought process goes beyond that. Simple comparison to whatever they've been programmed with until then.
Yeah. By the way, Doc Waxon is mentioning something over here, and I've got to follow up to it. Their medical expertise comprises of watching House, Scrubs, and ER.
And don't forget, Doc, WebMD.
Well, okay. Here's the problem. We have situations that get blown out of proportion for feel-good stories, and I specifically remember one. And I will tell you that the flop side of it. I do remember that there was one feel-good story, if you can call it that, where somebody had watched ER, and Doc Green, who was at the beginning of ER, he was the head of the ER department. He was going to be leaving because he had a thing going on with his brain. I forget if it was tumor or whatever the hell it was, where he tried to move his tongue in a certain direction on because he was asked to, and it didn't work that way. It moved in an area in a direction he it was not following his commands of where to move it. And this was an indicator for a specific brain thing that was going on. And somebody had watched the episode and had tested themselves and found out, well, I'm having the same damn thing. Maybe I should be tested. Found out it was the same damn thing, caught it early, and they were saved. And this was a rah, feel-good moment and blown completely out of proportion because, well, you know, a special case, and look at this, 1 in a billion chance, and well, look at this, all blown out of. Now here's hold on.
Yeah.
Here's the flip side to this thing. The very first episode, and my wife and I had watched it, and there was there was a pregnant woman came in. It was going to have the baby, and she did, and there were complications that happened, and she died within minutes of having the kid. Forgive me, at the time when that aired, that was the biggest the biggest fear that I ever had, and in a way, I kind of experienced that over the course of 2 years, and I'm sorry. So these things that we end up seeing that are just, you know, for entertainment, they may be rooted in reality, but we end up, for whatever reason, having this thing where we show these moments and we blow them completely out of proportion because I don't know, the vanity part of it socially, because somebody has to, what did we say a couple of weeks ago? Somebody has to be the special, and we've seen that have happen.
Well, I remember watching a news report. They were talking about stroke therapy, and they showed footage of them taking a blood clot out of somebody's brain, and it was like some kind of revolutionary new form of surgery. Like we're talking hot off the press. And basically what happened was this person came in with a stroke. They caught it early enough. They found out where the clot was, and they were able to go in and extract it. And I mean, they showed X-ray footage of this thing happening, and it was awesome. Given the fact that I know a few people who've had strokes, I'm one. But you know, the fact that it was so life-saving. Not 3 days later on ER, someone comes in with a stroke. I swear they used the same footage that they showed me on the news in the show.
They might have.
Yeah, it's like, wow, like the irons, you know, talk about striking when the iron's hot. You know, but there is a downside to, you know, thinking that, you know, what you see on House, ER, what are the new ones? New Amsterdam, Grey's Anatomy, even St. Elsewhere for that matter. And the fact that, you know, one person comes in with an ailment, and by the end of the show, they're either recovered and having a happy time and the family's gathered around them, yay! Or, you know, it's one of those tragic moments where then, you know, the nurse or the doctor has to go and deal with it. All inside of an hour. I fell into that trap and damn near had a psychotic break while I was in the hospital because an infectious diseases person looked at me and said, well, I hope this formula works. I damn near wanted to throttle her.
There's a reason why they call it a practice.
Well, you see, I know this now. and I understand it now. But back then, back then I was just wanting to get out and get back to my life. But realizing that, they don't have all the solutions, and yeah, you may one day end up being a guinea pig.
I already was
for several experiments. Just because your body is saying, haha, you've got those drugs. No, those won't work on me. And this is what happened to me. And yeah, it sucked that I was in there. But I understand now that these guys are flying by the seat of their pants as much as a hell of a lot more than you might think.
Yeah. Couple quick things. Doc had said, I owe you an apology, Shujin. The last thing I ever want to do in my life is to make people shed tears. You don't owe me anything. That is, that piece that I just told is something that I do. Again, I don't believe that I have ever actually mentioned to anybody. It was something I never even told Fuge at the time. So, it's my own damn fault. I basically just dipped my own damn foot into the whole thing, and that's my own fault.
Yeah. I always found it interesting that we as people would hide the things that are truly bothering us from our family and friends and loved ones because we don't want them to have to experience the pain or hurt that we are feeling at that moment, and or we don't want them to have to go through the pain or hurt of feeling helpless over trying to make us help us find a way out of that pain and hurt, and knowing that there may be no way to do that, let alone potentially depending on what's going on in that person's life, the potential source of the pain or part of that leads up to it, and yet our loved ones would gladly, family that's functioning would gladly stand by our sides every time.
Guilty.
Yeah. So, Bridget, about what Dalan was talking about, though. And again, I'm harping on this one because you would know as well as the rest of us. Overall, we all know full well that in statistics, there is a bell curve for a lot of things. There are a lot of items that happen on in expected methods and would give expected outcomes. In the medical community, there is also a typical bell curve for what do symptoms tend to point to as far as to health versus illness. There are certain things, for instance, elevated sugar levels can tend towards, especially, well, let's go with the easy one, diabetes, because liver production for insulin is decreased for whatever reason.
Pancreas.
I was going to say it's not the liver.
Sorry. I'm thinking of too many different things simultaneously. But we also know that there are various different things that when you add up the number of different variables, you tend to get a bell curve of it is most likely going to be whatever this item is at the top of that bell curve. And simultaneously, you would also have a bell curve for treatments, where the most likely item that would treat whatever this is at the top of the bell curve, and you can slide back and forth a little bit to something else that could treat it but usually doesn't, and then you get to the stuff that's way on the outside where you end up with, well, yeah, a snake bite will treat it, but only because there's no longer an illness to have to deal with. You see where that's the very far end of the bell curve, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's usually where the guys say, yes, the patient is stable. That's the euphemism. But therein lies the problem, where we end up with people who want to be the special. They don't want to be typical. They want to be treated differently, and well, maybe they've found out for themselves because it makes them feel special that no, my sugar, my elevated sugar levels are because of, well, what would be on the outside, for instance.
Well, I mean, it could be caused by steroids, and that is a legitimate thing.
But that would be, I believe the expression is atypical, at least here in the US. No?
That happens more often than you would think. It's a pretty common side effect.
Okay. Okay, let's go with it's possible. There is also the possible that that's just naturally how their body operates outside of the typical statistical norms. Possible, just not real likely. The same way that we could have oxygen levels could be lower, but that's not typical or healthy.
No, it's not.
Yeah, platelet levels, white blood cells, red blood cells. I mean, there are a lot of variables that go into the human body, not the least of which that some people would end up seeing variations in is body temperature.
Yeah.
Now, we know for well, especially for women, there is a big difference that can happen. And I say big difference. I mean, a couple of degrees Fahrenheit or Celsius that, body temperature swings, and not just female, but I mean, through the day, the human body has different temperatures from day to night and middle of the day and through various cycles. But that's normal. But they also fall into a typical statistical pattern. And people want to be the special, and they want to find out for themselves why they're special. And they find something that makes them feel special because, well, we've talked about that on too damn many occasions. And isn't this, yeah, and isn't this a little bit of that whole damn thing? They think they've found what is making them the special by saying, well, my kid is not going to be given all of this disease juice because reasons. And now we're finding out that some of that is because people have been intentionally steering towards that. When was the last time that biological weapons were used so effectively? I'm thinking one of the times, or notable times, I should say, would be things like, I don't know. Sorry?
I said by whom?
Well, the first one I was thinking of was France, England, trebuchet.
Well, you said the last time, but they
Well,
were used. And
yeah.
are you talking more like in Vietnam, or are you talking about the subway attack with the sarin gas, or what are you talking about?
Yeah, I probably shouldn't have said the last time. I should have said notable times, because
Okay.
lobbing cows.
Yeah, that are infected with whatever.
Yeah, everything. Just with everything.
Now that you've just said that, the whole pitch et lavage thing in the Holy Grail suddenly makes a whole lot more sense.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, the randomness was funny, but now that they were actually, taking a jab at something, I was like, damn, that's brilliant in its own morbid way.
Naughty suit.
But no, this whole thing about wanting to be the special, like, this feels like a subtle, non-criminal, or at least non-chargeable form of Munchausen syndrome.
Yeah.
Chujin, I see you kind of cocking your head there. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I kind of know what Munchausen is, enough to kind of run it through my head. I'm just trying to figure. I'm trying to understand how it would apply, perhaps, but
Don
that's just me
Quixote.
because
A person intentionally making themselves sick to get special attention.
But not even that, or it's people that would intentionally make their children sick.
Well, that's by proxy.
Yeah, so that they could. Well, no, like the only Munchausen that I've actually ever seen was people who would harm their children so that they would get the sympathy. Like, oh, you poor woman, having to go through this with your child. It must be terrible for you.
But they call that Munchausen by proxy because you're doing it to someone else.
No, okay, no, that's fine. And again, that's something I didn't know. I didn't know that Munchausen was a self-inflicted thing. But then this whole by proxy. So, but again, yes, it's a little tenuous, the relationship I'm coming up with here, but it almost feels like the same thing. Like you want your kid to be the special so that, you're given more attention because you are parenting the special.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's twisted as hell.
Yeah, makes me wonder what these people are actually looking for their kids. I mean, okay, great. They don't have the stay alive juice. Great. And what then? But that's a different thing. Stephanie, by the way, I am just at one end of the bell curve. I'm fine, but I do not fit their limits. I have no idea when those stats were compiled, by the way. Now, if you're talking about the stats for how human physiology operates and various chemical and temperature and kind of thing, that's just over time we kind of kept track of that kind of stuff. I'm forgive me if I'm going in the wrong area for you. I know I may be sounding like I'm kind of like, well, duh. I don't mean that at all. It's just that we've got so many different things now where we've got the statistics of what we expect, and we don't really think about it in terms of, we've been compiling this shit for like centuries, and we don't even think about it anymore.
But again, something comes up like, okay, so I was cleaning my glasses, so I had my camera off, but let me see here. The iron levels my blood me that my mom was told I'm anemic, even though I was cycling 20 miles a day. Mom had the same problem. So, Stephanie, what you're saying is that you've got, okay, so technically you're classified as an anemic, but you're not anemic, is what you're saying? Because if that's the case, then I'm calling Heisenberg. So you've got centuries of collected data saying, okay, this is what an average human body should be like. Here are these levels. Here are these metabolic factors. Here's this, here's that. Okay, but Stephanie is living proof, apparently, that you're not showing any symptoms of anything other than you have this one thing, which should be setting off a billion alarm bells, but it's not.
Because for her, that's the norm.
For her, yeah. But again, so
and she's saying, so's my mom. I will not explain what happens if I take iron tablets.
You know what? I will I will defer to your discretion on that one, because I think I know where you're going, and I don't want to go there either.
No, I pretty well have a good idea on that one, but let me take it a different angle. Bridget, if in this particular situation, someone who is borderline anemic, but is their norm. Mm-hmm. If someone starts to go through, let's say iron overload, I guess is probably the best way of putting it. Iron soup. I don't know what the right term for it is when you have too much of a particular, but an iron overload in the body, if memory serves, for one thing, that does nasty things to the liver to start off with, right?
I'm guessing so.
Well, if you're a guy, don't masturbate because you might shoot somebody.
But I mean, yeah, it does cause toxicity at too high levels, which is why they don't put iron in men's supplements because they don't menstruate and lose the iron. It can interfere with the hemoglobin.
Yeah. What was I
Yeah.
thinking?
Well, I'll tell you what I was thinking. The first thing that was coming to my mind was you remember how we've talked once or twice, more than once or twice before about what was it? Eating bear liver, I think is what it was, where there was just like toxic levels of vitamin A or something like that.
I think I
don't
missed that show.
No, I think you and I talked about it on a couple of Friday night shows.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
That's,
But
Well, you're out in the I was gonna say out in the Kodiak, or out in the Yukon, or out in the and that's you're a big time explorer, and you got to eat. You're
Yeah.
lucky enough to take down a bear. You're gonna want to eat whatever you can out of the bear.
yeah, you're right about that. The thing is, well, I don't know, me personally, if I honestly, if bear was my only option, I'd be going after nuts and berries.
They don't usually tend to bite back. Oh my God, Doc Waxon, Schlegelhoffen is when you have too much iron in the blood. Hemochromatosis? Chromatosis?
Bridge, you want to take a crack at that one?
I'm not looking at the live chat.
Okay.
Here. Copy, paste.
Hematochromatosis.
Hemochromatosis.
Let me put my glasses on. Hang on.
I gotta put
my glasses on because I can't read.
old woman. Fine.
Oh,
You're
hemochromatosis.
Sure, yeah. So people dealing with Schlegelhoffen, I don't. It's a bad thing. Don't worry about it.
You want to talk about you want to talk about medical anomalies. I mean, we've heard stories of people who, they're 99 years old, and for the past 20 years, all they've been living off of is bread dipped in some kind of ultra high like bacon fat or something, and that's all they eat. But they've been able to survive.
Yeah.
Bacon.
My brother, I used to tease him because he had Teflon. I always used to say he had Teflon arteries, because this is a guy who every morning, bacon, eggs, toast, enough stuff that his arteries should have been just like completely plugged with cholesterol and plaque and stuff. Every time he went to see the doctor, they do his test and everything. They go, whatever it is you're doing, keep doing it.
Yeah.
So there are people who
have naturally low cholesterol levels.
Yeah, but the thing is, the genetic makeup gives them the ability to, well, it basically makes them live outside what, again, we would consider statistically a standard person.
Well, I mean, the liver produces cholesterol, and it could be that his just produced so little.
Well, I'm just saying he does like to drink, so that could be another problem.
And there's a family in Italy somewhere, I forget where it was, where they have genetically developed an aversion to some specific kind of heart disease. I think it's what it was.
Well, there was another one. I can't remember where, but they have a genetic disposition to resist HIV.
Yeah, I remember that one.
And I remember they took samples, they tried to replicate that to turn it into a vaccine, and it didn't work.
Yeah,
because again, it's a tapestry. It's a genetic tapestry in that the only reason it works is because it's them. But then you try to introduce that thread in somebody else's tapestry, it doesn't work.
Yeah, and then you've like talked about before, and then you've got families on a completely different genetic avenue who deal with porphyria. For those of you that don't know, it's also referred to as werewolf disease, where you just grow thick hair all over your body, except for like your lips and fingernails, which are technically fused hair, but you get the idea.
And I bet you not a single one of them belonged to the fandom.
No, no. Although that would be funny as hell. Funny, curious, not funny. Haha.
It would be interesting to say the least.
Yeah. But the problem is we got to deal with the disinformation campaigns about all of these different things. We know about all of this. We know, even we lay people are lucky enough to know these facts. And we are lucky enough to know where to find these facts and where to go for the information and whom to trust, who to trust for this information, including when to say who and whom, because apparently I'm little verklempt right now. Yay!
But the problem is, and it all comes around. We've got generations of people now who have grown up with, the TV says this, therefore I believe it, and it's almost religious. It's almost dogmatic, and
it's a bunch of religions of one because they follow their own internal clock, their own internal vanity demon.
Yeah, or again, it's and then the conspiracy theorists, like why is my life this way? Why don't I have this? Oh, it can't possibly be me. Some outside pressure is preventing me from being this way. It must be somebody else. And and unfortunately, it's hard to brain. And really, that's what it is. Brain is hard. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, I could say that, and that's probably exactly how some people talk. It's the same people that, adulting is so hard. I don't want to adult today.
It's not hard. It's hard the first time.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I don't want to adult today. You're 62 years old, you stupid ass.
Like once you do it, you can't go back.
Oh, I know, it's a bloody addiction, isn't it?
You can't unlearn how to ride a bicycle. I mean, but learning to ride a bicycle is hard.
You can unlearn things with brain damage, though.
No,
hold on. I'm being serious here. There was a case where a man had
but that's distraction from the
point. Extremely mild version of brain damage caused by some kind of coma, and that was influenced by some kind of impact to his head. When he came out of it,
mm-hmm.
and he went home, and he finally got to go home and everything else, he found out that he was a smoker, that he had been a smoker for decades. When he woke up from the coma, he had no desire for a cigarette. He never asked it. He didn't even realize he was a smoker. And even after finding out that he had been a smoker and been a smoker for so long, he still had no desire for the cigarette. So you can unlearn things, but you got to go through something really nasty in the process to do so.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure a lot of these people are saying adulting is so hard, even after they've,
Can we hit him with a hammer?
No, because the thing is, these people aren't regressing. These are, the younger people who have never had to adult. They've never had to, fend for themselves or think for themselves, or ever had to question anything because, oh, well, this person, and the
authorities are doing it for you.
Yes, thank you. I mean, quite literally, the reason people are falling for all the anti-vax and flat earth stuff and stuff like that, it all comes down to Joseph, who, it seems every show
it's all my fault.
No.
I'm joking.
No,
I blame Joseph as well.
But the thing is, you're able to point it out. You know,
Well,
this is like a human
just
trope.
follow the rabbit hole all the way down, and they all seem to lead to the same place. And I mean,
Yeah,
this is
it's
just, you know,
we've talked about religious tropes in the past, and it's almost like we're dealing with the one big human trope.
yes.
Is that if people don't have to think for themselves to survive because they can look to somebody
They're
else,
one and the same thing.
they're gonna do it.
Because if you don't think for yourself, you're not surviving for yourself. Like, how
Yeah.
can you?
Yeah, and what we're talking about today, what we've talked about before, really are the side effects of that
The
willful,
consequences.
the side effects and consequences of that willful ignorance.
Yeah,
You know,
and it all seems, and it's not even really the thought itself that's the source of the problem. It all seems to come down to one crucial moment in somebody's life where they decide, okay, am I going to be responsible for my own survival, or am I going to continue relying on, whatever
Yeah.
sources my parents did? It's just one crucial moment. It's like, I keep on going back to the Australian Aboriginals, where their walkabout. They
Yes.
teach a kid until a certain point in his life. They say, okay. One day they say to the kid, they say, okay, you're going to take everything we taught you, and you're going to go out in the wild and you're going to do it for yourself in your own way.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you're going to die.
Yeah, no, that's it's kind of a crucible, and unfortunately, like me coming from a small town, when I came out here to go to school, by car I am 12 hours away from my hometown. That's a hell of a long way to run away. So it's like, if I go back, I have failed, and I should feel bad. Therefore, it was like, okay, come what may, I am going to survive here.
My point though was that basically we don't have to make this decision anymore. We don't even have to do it.
No, we don't, but I still do.
Yeah,
those of us
that's
sitting
why
here,
we're different.
And I would say I would say for the most part, people do.
But you can't. That's the thing, because we're not mind readers. So for most of my life, I've made the fault of assuming that other people think the same way I do, and that I can just rationalize with them and say, hey, it's like this, look at this, test it for yourself, and they would understand and they would see. But if somebody doesn't know how to judge the value of anything for themselves, and instead they have to rely on X authority to tell them what's good, right, wrong, bad, good, whatever, that's not going to work, because something coming out of your mouth and something coming out of their mouth, that's the comparison going on, and that's it.
Okay.
And if their source is their means of survival, they're going to count on them more than you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we have got to go ahead and wrap up about now. And please forgive me for kind of putting brakes on really quickly. I just realized what time it is, and I have to get up a little bit early tomorrow because little one and I are going to be going out to Buffalo's Pride Parade tomorrow, and we got to pick up somebody from his school. And yeah, sorry about that. So I got to make sure that I get a little bit of sleep so I can actually wake up and drive tomorrow morning.
Priorities, man. Priorities.
Yeah, a little bit so. So I'm gonna go ahead and get us all out of here to finish off. Joseph, I know that you were just finishing talking at that last. Was there anything left over that you wanted to get out, by the way, at this point?
No. Yeah. Sorry if I wasn't very articulate, but
It's early. Don't worry about it. It's fine. It's all good.
yeah, thanks for having me on, and you take care.
We're not. I didn't close just yet. Fine. You know what? Fine. Dalan,
he started it for you.
I mean,
What you're doing.
You two were kind of back and forth in there a little bit. I don't know if there was anything that was left unsaid for you.
To be honest, I'm almost tempted to send an email to George Robb. I want to ask him if it would be okay if we used his song "Think for Yourself" as the outro from now on, because really, that's what a lot of this is boiling down to these days. Is just think, ask the question. Don't believe what the tube. Don't believe everything you hear on the internet or on TV or even on the radio, because there's a very good chance that it's either crap or only part of the story.
Yeah.
You know, and I hate to break it to a lot of people out there. Nuance and context matter.
Dan,
I'm going to leave it at that.
There's a forest around that tree.
Oh, there's a huge forest, and
Just burn it to the ground. That way it won't exist anymore.
mhm.
you see, this is why he's in black and white, because I think there's a bit of orange in there somewhere. Oh, I went there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the way it's going to be. Tech. Sure. Any last item for you?
No.
Okay. Now that you're back, by the way, Bridget, any last on you? Because I got something.
Mike Pence still sucks.
Cock. Oh, wait. Excuse me.
No
No,
argument.
That hasn't come to light yet, but anybody
He's,
know any
he's
Vegas?
the one that did this fetal funeral cremation bullshit.
I was going to say, does anybody know if there's any bookies in Vegas trying to see when Pence is going to get arrested for gay sex somewhere?
I don't know.
I want to know what the odds are on that, because
I'd like to get in on that pool. Yeah.
Let's arrange a
I'll take
Charlie's
a bet
Angel
on that.
style setup.
just look at the trends, look at the amount of irony out there, and just think, like, somebody out there has got to be putting odds on something like that.
Yeah, I'm going to put my money on the remake of Psycho with Mike Pence as Norman Bates.
With Mother.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say it, but I didn't really have to right there, did I? So here's my last piece.
No, mommy, not the closet.
Here's my last piece. We end up talking about from time to time, over and over and over again. Yes, I've got my pet item for early education, but what Joseph keeps mentioning about where so many people and it's sort of understandable in this context where people end up simply bowing to authority, figuratively speaking. There's been a reason for that for a long time, several decades at least, which has been that up until relatively recently, those authorities have actually handled the positions of authority with respect. They've actually handled those positions of authority with the gravitas that they deserve, that they've recognized that it's a position that you have to be mindful and respectful of what you are doing.
Or at least get the
And-
appearance of being able to.
And we've seen in stark contrast over the last, let's just say, 2 years. If you want to see stark contrast in my country's political sphere, the massive difference between where you would expect someone in authority to say, yes, I have the power to be able to do this, but this isn't the right thing to do, versus, oh, well, if one of the Supreme Court justices died now, yeah, we'd fill that seat immediately. There's a difference in where we were, where we could trust someone in authority, where we told kids, if you run into a problem, go find a police officer, versus today, where it would be, don't find anybody. Don't look like you're lost, but make your way somewhere until you can find some way to get in touch with me. Don't trust anybody else, because you can't. And how sad a world is that? I would like to believe that I could trust the police. These days, the only police that I feel that I can legitimately and truly put my trust into are the guys that make music. But that's just me. With that, thank you everybody for being part of the show tonight. I hope that you found something worthwhile in all of our perspectives, and don't actually call for me to completely turn over the show to Dalan from now on, because I'm sorry, it's my show. Fuck you all. I'm not getting rid of it. Tough. So, thanks all. So, of course, as always, Joseph, you have yourself a good morning. Good luck for the week with whatever it is that you're working on project-wise, and thanks for your time, as always.
Yeah, not many projects this week, but yeah, going through my archives, actually.
Fair enough. Good luck with it.
Yeah, thanks a lot. And you too, sir. Thanks for having me on.
No worries. Tech, thank you very much. You try to have yourself a restful morning.
I will. I'm going to crash as soon as we go dark.
Makes perfect sense. Take care, man.
You too.
Bridget, I don't know. You want us to send you out a set of clue-by-fours to head down to the governor's mansion?
Sure.
Cool.
Hey, make those things rocket propelled.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll talk about that a little bit later.
What
Meantime,
what are the current tariffs on softwood lumber right now?
I don't know, but you can find a working milkshake machine at pretty much any Burger King.
No, I'm not going there.
Burger King.
No,
King
I'm not
shake
going to
machines.
Burger King. Period. Okay, that's on principle.
Well, yeah, but
Okay, we could get them from Wendy's. Get Wendy's Frosties, and sounds good to me.
Ooh,
Lactose for the intolerant.
considering
Wendy's
how much
Frosty.
Wendy's Twitter account roasts people on a daily basis, I'm up for that one. Go right ahead.
Wendy's
Anyway.
roast people the way they roast their baked potatoes.
I'll take your word on that. In the meantime, Bridget, thank you very much for your time. Do your thing.
Oh, you can find me on Facebook as Bridget Fitch, or find me at my blog at bridgetfitch2112.wordpress.com.
See, it'd be so much easier if you to just record yourself and just, oh yeah, let me go ahead and play the thing, and just put. That'd be easier, wouldn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not letting you get away that easy anyway.
No, you're not.
Thank you. Dalan, of course, thank you, and especially seriously, thanks for handling last week. I really do appreciate it, man.
I was nervous. Ask these guys. I really was. And then of course, when the whole thing didn't render right away, of course there was panic. But no, it was good. And if for any reason, again, not looking to take over the show. I don't want it. But if you need a pinch hitter from now on, I'm up for it.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, man. So do your spiel.
Yeah, my spiel. I will work on it this weekend because I have other things I have to do as well in front of this damn thing. But I am, of course, the custodian and the curator of the audio version of the show over at holycraptheblogcast.com. For myself, if I decide to broach a topic that would not be on this show for whatever reason, You can catch my scribblings over at inthewind.yo5.ca.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks so much. Meantime, as I was saying, thank you guys for being with us tonight. If you want to check up on all of our contact information, or again, to subscribe to the audio version, holycrapthevlogcast.com is where you'll be able to find all the information. If you would like to help contribute to the Ride for Roswell stuff, I don't know if I've got the right account listing over in the show notes. I didn't really think about it. I'll make sure that's up to date. Last I checked, we're over $1,300 USD currently. That was applied at the website. I have not gotten the Second Life stuff transferred over yet, so hopefully we'll have another roughly $1,000 there, which is great. I'm see how that all plays out. I'm hoping that my shoulder is all good for tomorrow. I think I'm doing okay so far, so we're all good. But otherwise, I will be looking forward to being back again next week because, well, there's always next week. I got a lot of things running through my head, and I think a good portion of that is just because I am exceedingly tired. If you'd like to send a voicemail message to us, feel free to do that. 859-HCTV 554-859-4288-554. And if you've got somebody that you'd like me to go ahead and have a chat to over on Facebook, feel free to let me know. Because, I've been trying to be very good about not getting into fights on Facebook, and I feel like I might get out of practice, so you can always feel free to forward stuff my way, and who knows, maybe I'll take that up. We'll see. But other than that, thanks for being with us. It's good to be back. It'd be better if I didn't have this shoulder thing, but that's a whole other thing for later. But in the meantime, of course, we'll talk to you guys again sometime soon. Probably in about a week. So until that point, as always, I wish you all the peace I no longer have. I wish you the strength that I've learned. I wish you well. And of course, my lady too. 14 years on, I am still in love. Matane Fujin. I love you. I miss you. We will beat this for someone else. My word. You dream of me. Till the next time we get together, everyone. As always, good night.